Thank you so much, Mukesh ji, and a very warm welcome to all of you who are here today. A very special thanks to the three judges who are being part of this and my friends who are joining me for this program. And I'm sure quite a lot of them are watching in Facebook and will be joining this program as well. A big thanks to JCI for conducting something like this, because I have been in JCI for almost 30 years now, never seen anything at this phenomenal scale ever being conducted. And on behalf of all the trainers, the fraternity of trainers in JCI, let me thank the SDC committee for conducting something like this. Now, we all say, and it's very easy to say, that this is all part of destiny, is it? I'm not sure, but let's see how we go for it. So welcome to a date with destiny. That's what I want to call it, a date with destiny. And we are going to spend the next 45 minutes as a date together with this whole thing called destiny. Now, let me ask the first question, and I'm not going to get into too much of an interaction, because I know some of you are there and you want to kind of share your thoughts. So let's get into that way as well. So the first thing is, so what is destiny? And this is something that has always perplexed me. And I was so thankful to the team that they chose a topic like this, because this is something that I had my own mixed views on it, and I've discussed with my friends on this. And I kind of realized that I need to get a little more in depth into destiny to figure out what it is, and then give a training on this, on a topic that is something completely different. Now, this could have been a great topic for a public speaking session, but for a training, this is a very, very interesting topic. So what is destiny? Is it fate, as some people call it? That you say that, okay, this is destined to happen and it will happen, it doesn't matter what, that's fate. And many people tag it as a fate, and you wait for those things to happen. They say it is determined. Fate, as per fate, it is determined, and that determination, that's something that you've already settled it, and then it's already there. Or some people say this is the end. This is the end of the journey, and then that's not going to go anywhere beyond it, and that's what destiny is. Or I've seen people taking this as an excuse that, yeah, this is destiny and it was supposed to happen. There is absolutely nothing that I can do about it, because it is in my destiny and this will happen. So is it an excuse to find a way out? Or is it something that is absolutely and completely your choice in terms of deciding what it is? Now, the word destiny comes from a Latin word, which is destinare, and that means that this is something that is firmly established. Now, that it comes from that perspective, and then we are talking about a fate, an end, or an excuse, or a choice. So I was really perplexed when I looked at it and then said, hey, let me put some thoughts into this in terms of determining what is destiny and how destiny can be defined, and how do we control this thing? How do we have a date with destiny? Is there a way wherein we can be somebody who can control this? So the next question that I posed to myself and to you is that, are you in control of destiny? Anyone who's on the chat box, you can put it on the chat. I request you to put it. Do you think you are in control of destiny? How many of you feel that you are in control of your destiny? If you could put it on the chat box, it will be great, so that we can at least have some bit of an interaction here. Are you in control of your destiny? What do you think? Yes. Balaji firmly believes that it's a big yes, because he's put it on caps big. Sandhya says it's partly responsible. Geeta, my good friend, says yes. Karthi says no, destiny is not in your control. So we already have mixed responses. I've got 4 responses and 4 different responses. Now that's very interesting. That's very interesting to kind of start off, because you've got a starting point there on seeing, are you in control of your destiny, or is destiny completely away from what you think it is? Now let me tell you, most of us are trainers here, quite a lot of trainers in this room. Some of them have qualified NTTS with me. Some of them are authors. Some of them have been in business. Some of them are trainers for a very, very long time. People like Pramod, whom I look up to for a very long time, or a good friend like Nibu, who has been an absolutely astounding trainer. Now, we've all been in this whole game of public speaking, doing trainings and all of that stuff for a long, long period. And we've heard the stories, and we've trained these people on people who had an absolute scare of public speaking. We have talked about Mahatma Gandhiji having a fear of speaking, or a Warren Buffett having a fear of speaking. I know about a small child who was in his 4th standard or something, and I heard this story, and it was very interesting, that I thought I'll share with you. Now, this child was afraid of public speaking, but he never knew that. till the time his teacher actually enrolled him for a public speaking program when he was in school in his 4th standard, because he was a very, very talkative boy. So a very naughty boy and a very talkative boy. And the teacher enrolled him for a program on public speaking. On the day of the program, he actually ended up going to the stage. But before he reached the stage, he had a cold feet. He was scared of getting on stage. He was waiting in the queue to get into the stage. And just before the last person went onto the stage, he looked out and saw the audience. The moment he saw that audience, he had a scare. For the first time in his life, he realized what fear of public speaking is, what stage fear is. Now, like any 4th standard boy, what he did, he slowly tracked back, and the teacher stopped him and said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "Ma'am, I need to go to the washroom," because that's the best excuse you can give as a 4th standard child. The teacher said, "No, you can't go to the washroom because you are to speak now." The boy said, "Ma'am, if I don't go now, I'll end up going here." But the teacher did not have a choice. The teacher said, "Run to the washroom." The boy ran into the washroom and realized, if I go back to the stage, they will make me speak. I need to hide. Where do you hide? You hide in the washroom. But the boy was smarter than that. So he realized, instead of hiding in the boys' washroom, the best place to hide is the girls' washroom. And he went inside the girls' washroom and he was hiding there. And then, after a very long time, which looked like eternity, he heard people screaming his name, and they dragged him out of the girls' washroom. When he came out, he realized that there is nobody left in that school because he has been hiding in that washroom for the whole day. He was taken into the principal room and he was sent back home. Next day morning, he did not want to come back to school because everybody knew that he was the boy who was hiding in that girl's washroom. He sat in that class. Every single child who walked past that veranda would come into the class, look up to him, laugh at him, and call him the boy who was hiding in the girl's washroom. He was embarrassed, he was crying, and he cried for 3-4 days straight, non-stop. And then the reality hit him. He was not crying because he was hiding in the girl's washroom. He was hiding because he was not able to get on stage and give a speech. And that boy that day took a resolution that come what may, I need to get back to that stage and give that speech. Before the end of that year, this boy went back to that stage, took him all the courage. He had every single issue that would come with the public speaking speech. He had every single symptom. His heart was beating, he was sweating, his mouth was dry, but he ended up giving that speech, and the whole school stood up, clapped for him, because he was the boy who was hiding in that washroom, who could not give a speech, who came back and gave that speech. Now, I'm not talking about Mahatma Gandhi. I'm not talking about Warren Buffett. I'm not talking about any of those great speakers out there. If you don't know who the boy was, you're straight looking at that boy. I was the boy who was hiding in that girl's washroom because I did not have the courage to go on stage and speak. Now, I could have left it as a destiny. I probably would have left it as a destiny, like a lot of people do, because you are not ready to do one thing, which is dare and deny. The moment you start daring yourself, the moment you start denying that this is my destiny, you are over the first step. Okay. Now, let me put it on another perspective. Today, I'm a public speaking coach, and I've conducted 56 batches with 650 children going through this program in the last 1 year of lockdown. Lockdown was another issue. I am from a recruitment background. That's my industry. That's my living. That's my bread, butter, and everything. My biryani also. But when lockdown hit, we were already going through absolute turmoil in that industry. Recession had hit. GDP has gone down. Industries were firing. Nobody was hiring. Everybody was firing. In such a situation, what does a recruitment company do? We were already in big trouble. And when that happened, COVID also came, which meant a complete standstill to that industry. You know what took me through this COVID time? What gave me food? What gave food to my family? What ensured my children go back to school? My public speaking programs. Now, a boy who was there when he was in his 4th standard without being able to give a speech on stage, being able to come out and make a business out of it, my dear friends, is when you dare and deny your destiny. And you say that I can come out of this, I can do it because I dare to do it. Now, I am sitting out of my home for the last 1.5 years and working. People question this. Can you do public speaking online? It is like teaching swimming online. How can you even teach public speaking online? And I've come out and I've proven to the world that it is possible, because these 650 kids who have come out and become speakers are my treasure, are my testimonials, are my ambassadors, because every single kid who has joined this program has come through word of mouth of somebody else who has benefited from this program. Can you dare and deny? When a situation comes in front of you, do you accept it as it is, or do you want to dare it? Do you want to deny it? And do you want to come up and say that, yes, this is something which is under my control and I will be able to overcome it because I choose to do that? That's the first part, my dear friends. Dare and deny. Now, it's okay to be inspired. We say, right? It's okay to be inspired. It's okay to be inspired and you want to do something that you want to do. Now, you would have all heard about companies like Make My Trip. Is that something that you've heard as a company? Yes. But I came across a company which is not just Make My Trip. It is Take My Trip, Ease My Trip. There are so many companies similar to this doing exactly what you're doing. And I ask myself that, are you not even able to find another name that you have to not just copy the business, you're even copying the business model and the name. There are so many companies who look exactly like this, copying the logos, copying it and doing it. That, my dear friend, is not questioning it. You're just falling into that trap, that whirlwind that is going to take you down. It is absolutely okay to copy. It is absolutely okay to inspire, be inspired. They call it movies are copied, movies are inspired. So are businesses. There is no business which has not been inspired by somebody else, and they've all become bigger than the previous company, and it is perfectly fine. Orkut was there at one point of time. Facebook took over. Facebook became bigger than Orkut. Orkut died. Nokia was the only company at one point of time. Today, Nokia is trying to research because everybody else has copied from what Nokia did. Everybody else copied from what Orkut did, and they've gone bigger. But the problem there is, are you ready to innovate? Are you ready to innovate from what others are doing and creating a business model out of it? Be it be personal, be it be business. Are you ready to innovate so that you can survive there? There are battles. And there are battles where you need to know when to quit. Now, people do not want to quit because there is so much at riding for that. They don't want to quit that battle. They continue that battle. And at some point of time, it doesn't work. How many of you heard the story about the Squid Games guy? That's the latest rage, right? Squid Games is something that has become a big, big rage across the world. And if you've not seen it, that's an absolutely amazing series to watch. It is on Netflix, and people are getting gonko about it because it's an absolutely amazing series that has been aired. And you know what? That has become the biggest money blockbuster of Netflix. Money is pumping in like anything, and people are already talking about the next level of Squid Games. How do we do next? It's become such a big money spinner. But do you know that it took that poor chap a good 10 years to even start that, what he was doing, to write that story, and to have anyone even buy that story? 10 years he ran behind people and nobody was ready to buy it. He reached a level wherein he had to sell his laptop in which he was writing all this stuff. He could not survive. He did not have money to eat. And he sold his laptop so that he has enough money to at least fend for himself. We have heard the story of Sylvester Stallone, who had a story with him. Nobody wanted to buy that, and finally ended up selling his dog so that he can feed himself. We have heard the story of J.K. Rowling, who went from printer to printer, publisher to publisher, and nobody ever wanted to buy her story. And today she is the biggest millionaire, woman millionaire in the world. She's the richest woman in the world. Now, these three stories are stories that we all trainers talk about day in, day out. If you want to do a motivational training, one of these names is going to come up. I'm sure Squid Games guy, Kwang Dong, doesn't come up today because that's going to come up soon with all the trainers. But we only talk about them. We only talk about them. How many Sylvester Stallones do we know who had to sell a dog and then become a billionaire? How many Huang Dongs do we know who did not sell a story for 10 years and today has become a millionaire? Or how many J.K. Rowlings do we know who could not sell a story for 19 years and today has become the richest woman in the world? We all know one of them. We don't have other examples. That's only one. And then remember, you are chasing that dream. You are chasing that inevitable dream. You are chasing that unrealistic dream. You can set your dumb goals. You don't have to set smart goals, which is perfectly fine. But the moment you start chasing that, remember the cost. Are you ready to go with that kind of a cost? Is that the one goal that you have that you're going to go with? Is there an introspection in your life? Are you going to stand back and question yourself that I need to introspect today? I need to see if this battle is worth fighting. Is there another thing that I can do better? You never know. We have 3 examples in front of us, maybe 10 examples, maybe 50 examples. But that's all we have. And when you motivate people to chase a Huang Dong or a J.K. Rowling or a Sylvester Stallone, you're probably missing out on people who they could have become otherwise. So that's the second part I want to talk about, is to introspect and innovate. One is to innovate. Whatever you're trying to do, ensure that you're not just copy pasting it. Control C, Control V only works in computers. It doesn't work in your life. Anything that you're doing needs that kind of an innovation. Even if you're getting inspired by another idea, even if you're copying another idea, ensure that there is enough innovation that is happening so that people are ready to come behind you. Redbus became a huge success. He sold that company, Phanindra Sharma sold that company for 800 crores. And then there are red buses, multiple red buses after Redbus. Now, are all those companies going to be sold for 800? I don't think so. So why do you want to copy? Is there anything else that you can do? There is one Naukri and there are hundreds of them who are doing exactly what a Naukri is trying to do. Can you do the same thing? No, unless otherwise you have something absolutely innovative in you. You have a unique buying point in you. You have a unique selling point in you, which people are chasing you for. You cannot sell it. Innovate. 2, if that is not working, go in front of a mirror, check yourself, spend that time with yourself and introspect. Is it worth my time? Is it worth that battle? Ensure that you are introspecting. And if it is not, my dear friends, move on. Life cannot be behind one idea. There are hundreds and thousands of ideas out there waiting for you to innovate and grow. Innovate and introspect is my second idea with you. The third one I want to talk about is your network and your net worth. And this is something that a lot of people talk about. What is your network? What is your net worth is what I want to talk about. Now, there is this farmer, and you would have heard this story before. There was a farmer who wanted to buy a donkey for his farm. So he went out in search of a good donkey that he can buy. He can use it in the field for his work and carry his stuff and all that stuff. So he goes to a local market and where the donkeys are being sold. He goes to a guy who's selling this donkeys and he tells that I want that particular donkey, which looked nice and all that stuff. But he said, I don't know if this donkey is worth it. I'm ready to pay you the money, but I don't know if this donkey is worth it. So can I keep this donkey with me for 7 days? I'll pay you the money up front, but if this donkey is not worth it, I will return it to you. Will you return my money back? Do you have a money back guarantee? The seller said, yes, sir. I am ready to take that chance. Here is your donkey. Go with this donkey. If it doesn't work for you, 7 days later, bring it back to me. I will exchange it with another donkey or I will give you the money back. The farmer is happy. He takes the donkey back to his stable and he leaves him in his farm. The next day morning, he comes and sees the donkey there. Without wasting a single second, he takes the donkey, puts him in his truck, goes back to the market and gives it back to the seller. The seller is surprised. He says, so you said 7 days, but you've come back in just 1 day. What happened? And he said, I took him and put him with the other donkeys in my yard there. And this donkey, next day morning, was lazing around with the laziest donkeys in that farm. I am very sure this is going to find out ways to laze around just like the other ones. He is not going to work hard for me, so he is of no use. I want a donkey who's going to find a company with the best donkeys, The best ones who are going to work there. Now that's an example from a donkey perspective, but from a human perspective, the question is, are you with people who are smarter than you? Or are you with people who are less smarter than you? I don't want to use a negative terminology there. Are you with people who are less smarter than you, or are you with people who are more smarter than you? Difference is, we find it very easy to work with people who are less smarter than us. You know why? Because then you are the boss. You are the one people who look up to. You are the one whom they look for ideas. You are the one who they come for opinion, suggestions, everything. And you suddenly feel like the boss of the world. But the moment you start working with smarter people, every single day is a learning, because they have so much to teach you. They have so much to offer you. They have so much to give you value additions on, which you're missing when you're working with people who are less smarter than you. I come from a recruitment fraternity, and this is a question that I keep asking people when they hire, because I always see them rejecting the smarter people. The reason is they are always under threat. The moment I hire a person under me who's smarter than me, tomorrow he's going to displace me. He's going to throw me out of my seat, occupy my seat. So I might as well hire a person who's less smarter than me. But what happens? Because of that, your organization doesn't grow. You don't grow because you are the smarter person there and you've kept an elevation pitch there. You are done. There is nothing beyond you. Anybody who's coming is coming below you, which means that you are the benchmark. And that's never going to change. You are not going to learn because you already kept yourself at the benchmark. Rest of them are looking up to you as a benchmark, and they are also not going to learn ever. Best thing to do, my dear friends, work with people who are smarter than you, because they have something to give you on a daily basis. They have something to offer you on a daily basis. And that way, they are going to learn, you are going to learn, and that way the organization is to grow. You are going to go up as a person on a daily basis, because there is something that the new person is always going to teach you that you did not know. Work with smarter people, hire smarter people, hang around with people who are smarter than you. Be with people who are ready to talk, not just listen. When you're with people who are only listening, you are the only one talking. You don't even improve your vocabulary. Of everything else, you're not even improving your vocabulary, because everybody is just listening to you, and you are able to only tell things that you already know. There is absolutely and zero value addition in your life, and you're not able to give any kind of value addition to them either. So work with people who are smarter than you. Hire people who are smarter than you. And that way, you are able to build a better network. You are able to build your net worth better than what it was yesterday, because on a daily basis, your net worthiness is going up, because your network on a daily basis is going up. I was part of an NGO, and I'm still part of it, and it's such an NGO that I loved working with. So one of the things that we used to do was we used to visit these old age homes and mentally destitute homes. Mentally destitute homes are the places wherein you find a person who's wandering in the street, who's mentally challenged, or has had something has happened to him, and he doesn't remember where he comes from, and he's completely destitute. So they bring him in, they take care of him, they give him medicine, they bring the doctors in, and then try to kind of recuperate him so that he can be sent back to his home, or he can be brought back to normalcy. Quite a lot of them have been able to do that. So we tried identifying a group of people as a language hub, wherein we could go and talk to these people in their own language so that we can help them being rehabilitated. So one of the days I was in this mentally destitute home, and they were talking about a young boy who was found from under a flyover in Bangalore. And this boy was completely in shredded clothes. He was carrying a huge sack with him with quite a lot of old bottles and newspapers and all that. And he was completely lost. So some good-minded people, good Samaritans, took him and brought him into this old mentally destitute home, where they kind of treated him. After a couple of weeks, he told that he is from a particular town in Karnataka. Okay, he told him he's from a particular town in Karnataka, and they sent a couple of people to that town with his photographs just to see if they can identify this person. To their utter shock and surprise, the first person in that town, they went into the bus stand, got out of that bus stand, showed the photograph of the person. He was identified by the first person that they met. To reconfirm, they went and asked in another shop. That person also identified this person. They were shocked. They realized that this boy belongs to one of the wealthiest families in that town. His parents literally owned half of the town. And he was from such a big family. What happened to him, nobody knows. He just went missing one day. Now, when we spoke to them, they realized that the boy has been showing these signs over a long period of time, but the parents never gave any heed to this because they thought it was just a teenage tantrum or something is wrong. We can always get it corrected. They took care of him, but he was always on his own. And one day he lost it and he went missing. He was out for almost 3 months before they found him out. And that, my dear friend, is an important part of life, which is your emotional equation. Do you have an emotional equation? How is your emotional equation? Where is your emotional equation? With whom are you emotionally equated? It could be anyone. It could be your friends. It could be a best friend of yours. Doesn't matter which gender it belongs to. It could be a family member. It could be a parent. It could be just another person. It could be anyone. And that's where emotional equation becomes very, very important. How do you work around it? If you want to control this, you need to start communicating. And that's the biggest challenge that communities have. That's the biggest challenge people have. That's the biggest challenge families have. That's the biggest challenge clubs and other places have, because we are not communicating. People say, I never knew that person was under depression. You will never know because nobody is going to come to you and tell you that he's under depression. That's where people come up and talk. And that's when people speak. You need to know. They need to know that something is there and you need support in that front. And once they know that, there is an easy way out because they are able to give you that kind of an emotional support. We all take trainings on EQ, emotional quotient. We all speak about happiness quotient. We never talk about that emotional equation. Do you have that equation in place? Where does it lie? Who's going to be that support system for you when you need them? Are you in a position to talk to them, ensure that the communication is at play so that you are able to equate with them, you are able to emote with them, they are able to understand what you're trying to say. It's very important to speak, not just listen. It's very important to speak because the moment you speak in this condition, people are able to understand what you want to say and build that. Now, what would have happened with that boy if the parents were ready to speak to him? The parents were ready to listen to him. They wouldn't have gone through this turmoil. This boy wouldn't have gone through hell for 3 months. And I'll tell you, there are hundreds of people in that destitute home who are still not found. They don't know their houses because they've lost all memory. They don't know where they belong to. They don't know where they came from. They don't even know their names. There are so many such cases. You look around yourself and you will see one of them on a daily basis. That's the level of people who are out there who need support. Now, if you want to hold your destiny with you, if you want to have control on that, that's an important part which we typically miss, which is your emotional equation. Work on that. Ensure that your emotional equation is at the highest level. I don't even want to put a meter to it. You know where you need to stand in terms of that equation. And if you're able to do that, my dear friends, your destiny is in your control. Are you ready to trade and train? Two completely different things, right? We talk about training, but what is trading? Now, we all speak about competition. And today, competition is killing us. We've all been killed by competition. Everybody is competing with something or someone. Businesses are competing, individuals are competing, and we put that into a child's head right from the time he's going into kindergarten that you need to be number one. You are not telling them that it is okay, that you don't have to be number one as long as you are happy in school. The moment you are saying that you need to be number one, there is always a competition, because to be number one, somebody has to be number 2 or 3. So the moment you put that into somebody's head in terms of competition, you are fracturing that person's destiny in some way or other. Now the question is, are you ready to train and are you ready to trade? How do you train? How do you trade? Now, the game is of collaboration. Today, world has reached a level I remember good old days when I was working in my telecom companies, when they said that we will all share towers and we will put up our towers there, and we will share one single tower where an Airtel, Idea, Vodafone, everybody will be there. We had such a big hue cry saying that how can we are competing with them on a daily basis in the market. How can we collaborate with them? Today you have better coverage because everybody is occupying the same tower. Number two, the cost have come down. India has the lowest cost in terms of mobile and highest penetration in terms of mobile because the cost has come down. Today we are talking about white label ATMs. Why do we need 20 ATMs in a small town? Can't we have one ATM wherein all 20 banks are operating? Have multiples of them so that you don't have a separate ATM for every bank. Look at the real estate cost. Look at the administration cost. Look at every single cost. Where is it going from? You are in my pocket. Every time you withdraw money from an ATM because that company or that bank has a separate ATM, an AC installed and a security guard sitting there, the money is going from your pocket. Now, can we collaborate? Can we ensure that we are going on the same track? Though we are competing businesses, can we collaborate? Now, we run an amazing initiative called the Bengaluru Schools Education Initiative. My partner Sandhya is in this room with me. We tried doing something very interesting, wherein we started bringing schools together. And any of you who was in the education industry would know schools compete like cats and dogs in the market. They compete with each other for every single student out there. We brought in a concept wherein we said, hey, let's all come together and talk. Principals of school would come together in our platform and talk, share best practices. You know what happened because of that? They started collaborating. Teachers started visiting another school just to know what is happening in that school. They would pick up some idea, bring it to their school and implement it here. There was a school which during the COVID time had the full luxury of the canteen and the canteen staff and a huge organic garden. Every single product was going waste because there were no sick children in the school. You know what they did? They started cooking every day and started giving it to the policemen who were on duty. They would send their school buses to send the food to the policemen who were on duty so that they don't have to leave their post and come back. We shared this. They shared this in our platform. And we are so happy to see that other schools picked it up and said that, hey, this is an idea that we can implement. Why didn't we not think about it? They've left competition. They've started collaborating. They've started co-creating. Now, that's the first thing that you can train yourself on. What is the second thing? What is a trade-off? We have all done the treasure hunts, right? Treasure hunts is a training exercise, or treasure hunt as a game. We have all done it. Treasure hunt, my dear friends, is all about trade-off. What is it that you're going to hold with you? For that, you need to let go of something else. You cannot win everything. You cannot have everything with you. Is there something that you're ready to trade off? And that trade-off ensures that you are in control. When you try to achieve everything, when you want to grasp everything, when you want to be controlled in everything, it doesn't work. You need to essentially give a trade-off. To have something, you need to lose something else. Are you ready to trade off? Because the moment you are ready to trade off, you are getting in control. Do you have a support to sustain? Is there a support to sustain? An organization, JCI, comes in handy with. Look at the support the trainers are getting to. Look at 100 of us coming on a platform like this. There are 7 other trainings happening at the same time. Phenomenal trainers judged by phenomenal trainers in the same fraternity. And none of us are here to compete. None of us are looking at competing with each other and winning. This is a learning experience for everyone. We have trainers who have just become national trainers. We are trainers who have been national trainers for decades who are participating in this. And there is so much of sharing happening and caring happening. That's a support that we need in times like this. Is there a support? Okay. Do you have a mentor in your JCI, in outside, anywhere? Do you have that mentor who can look up to you? Is there someone that can hold your hand in times of need and say that what you did was wrong, but we will make it right? You don't need a mentor just to tell you that everything will be all right, that anybody can do. Is there a mentor in your life or a group of mentors in your life who can actually tell you on your face, not looking at who you are, where you come from, what you're doing, and tell you that you were wrong? And there is a way to get it right, and this is a way to get it right. Is there someone that you can do? Other thing that we can do is we all ask this question. Somebody comes to your place or somebody you meet up, you ask this question, hey, why are you here? Why did you come? Can you meet people without a reason? Today, we've reached a level wherein people don't meet without reason. We meet only if you have a reason. Can we start meeting people without reasons? The moment you start meeting people without reason, there is a support system that you are establishing, because you're going there without any kind of expectation. You're just going to meet a person to be with that person. Do you have a support system to sustain yourself? The last thing I want to talk about is, are you unique? Are you unique? You have to be unique. How do you become unique? I do these trainings for entrepreneurs, and last training which I did for an entrepreneur group, I asked this question: who's your favorite entrepreneur? And these are guys who have been entrepreneurs for so many years. And I would have asked this question to a lot of entrepreneurs who are sitting in this room, that do you know who's your favorite entrepreneur? And I would have got names. Let me ask this question. Any entrepreneurs in this room? If you're an entrepreneur, just put it on the chat box. Who's your favorite entrepreneur? Who wants to put it on the chat box? Who's your favorite entrepreneur? Let's see some answers coming in. Quickly, please. Who is your favorite entrepreneur? Just put it on chat box. Okay, I'm getting names. Vikas, okay. I'm getting names. Sridhar Vembu says Geeta. Wow, amazing person, Geeta, Sridhar Vembu. Anyone else who has a name to give me as your favorite entrepreneur? Now, I asked this answer to thank you for those who participated in this. Now, I asked this question to the same set of entrepreneurs, and they also gave me names like you, Jeff Bezos, or your Jack Ma, or Steve Jobs. So many names came out, and I asked them the same question once. How many of you have your name as your favorite entrepreneur? When will you be able to say that I am my favorite entrepreneur? Till that time, you're still chasing somebody else's dream, my dear. Can you reach a level? Can you be so unique that you will be able to say that you are your favorite entrepreneur? You know why you need to do that? Because when you do that, you are essentially leaving a legacy behind. And when you leave a legacy, that's something that people want to do later on. All those names that you're talking about as your favorite entrepreneur have left a legacy. They're living or not, but they're still having a legacy. Are you the one who can leave that legacy? If you are starting to be that one, the moment you say that I am my favorite entrepreneur, I am my favorite person, I am my favorite teacher, I am my favorite trainer, the moment you start doing that, you become unique in your own ways. Why repeat what somebody else has done? Why look at role models? Why look at inspirations? Nobody wants to say, I am my favorite. I am my role model. I am my favorite one. Priya Rachin says, Asim Premji, absolutely fantastic. That's an inspiration. That's a role model. But I am looking up to you one day coming up and saying that I am my favorite entrepreneur. You know why? Because we're all born differently. Is there another person who looks like you in this world? Exactly like you. And we are what, 125 crores plus kind of people, right? And think about this, not one person looks like you, doesn't speak like you, doesn't do the same things as you. Nothing. You are so unique. So why do you want to copy? Why do you want to repeat somebody else's things? Why can't you be unique? Think about this, my dear friends. You need to be unique, because the moment you are unique, you're questioning it. Let me sum it up in a very interesting way. We spoke about these things. The first thing that we spoke about was, can you dare and deny? We spoke about, can we introspect and innovate? Important part to this journey. Can we? What is your net worth and network? What's your emotional equation? Do you have a very strong emotional equation in your place? Can you train and can you trade? Do you have that support system? Do you have that sustainability? Can your support system sustain you? And then we spoke about an important point. Are you unique? That, my dear friends, sums up destiny for me. And simple things that can help you do that: know when to give up. Ensure that you don't hang on to it. You need to give up when it is the right time to give up. Give without expectations. Never expect anything when you're giving. Give it without expectation. Remember one important thing in life: passion does not feed. You can be passionate about anything you want. You can do it with utmost passion. But if you need to question your destiny, if you need to chart your destiny, you need to be sure that passion alone cannot feed you. Some of the battles you win, with others you learn. Barack Obama very famously said, our destiny is not written by us, but by our destiny is not written for us, but by us. You just had a date with destiny with Manoj Thelakkat from JCI Palakkad. Thank you so much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure being here. Question your destiny, chart your destiny, and your destiny will become your destination. Thank you so much.